Your mechanic doesn't want you to see this because these 17 WD-40 car hacks could wipe out half of his business. From saving $500 on paint fixes to avoiding $1,000 in electrical repairs, this stuff works miracles. Watch until the end for a bonus tip that'll make servicing your car way cheaper. Let's start with the exterior fixes. Hack number 17. Remove tar, sap, and stubborn grime from car paint. You ever run your hand across your paint and feel it rough, almost gritty? That's not dirt. It's tar, sap, or bug guts baked in by the sun. A lot of folks make the mistake of scrubbing hard with sponges or grabbing a razor blade. All that does is scratch the clear coat and leave swirl marks that cost hundreds to buff out. Here's the right way. Grab your can of WD-40, spray it directly on the spot, and let it sit for a couple of minutes. Don't rush it. Let that formula work into the gunk. Then take a clean microfiber towel and wipe it off. You'll see the grime melt away without scratching the paint. If it's stubborn, spray again and repeat. Here's the bonus. WD-40 leaves behind a thin protective layer, so the next time sap or tar hits, it won't stick as hard. And if you think that's clever, wait until you see what it does for cloudy yellow headlights. Hack number 16. Clean and restore headlights from oxidation. Nothing makes a car look older or more dangerous at night than cloudy yellow headlights. That haze you see isn't dirt. It's oxidation, a layer of rough plastic that builds up from sun, weather, and road grime. Most people run out and buy a pricey headlight restoration kit. Or worse, they start sanding with paper towels and toothpaste. Sure, it helps for a minute, but it doesn't hold. Here's what I do in the shop when a customer needs quick results. Grab your WD-40, spray a light coat right on the headlight lens, and wipe it in with a clean rag. Almost instantly, the clarity comes back. The light shines brighter, the car looks fresher, and you've bought yourself time before needing a full restoration. Now, it's not a permanent fix. Let me be clear on that. The oxidation will return eventually. But if you've got an inspection coming up, or you just want safer night driving tonight, this trick does the job. And if you think that's handy, wait until I show you how WD-40 protects paint. Hack number 15. Protect car paint from minor scratches and corrosion. Your car's paint isn't just about looks. It's the armor that keeps rust from eating into the body. Tiny scratches from road debris, salt in winter, or even rubbing against bushes can break that armor and start corrosion. I've seen cars rot from the bottom up because owners ignored this. Here's where WD-40 comes in. Spray a light mist along your lower panels, wheel arches, rocker panels, and even inside the door edges. It forms a thin barrier that water, salt, and grime have a hard time sticking to. If you've got fresh, shallow scratches, WD-40 can help hide them temporarily by filling the scuffed area and bringing back some shine. No, it won't fix deep scratches, but it'll keep the little ones from turning into rusty scars. The guys who do this before every winter see their paint hold up for years longer. And if you thought that was smart, wait until I show you how WD-40 makes sticker residue disappear like magic. Hack number 14. Remove bumper sticker residue without damaging the surface. We've all been there. You peel off an old bumper sticker, and instead of clean paint, you're left with a sticky mess that looks worse than the sticker itself. I've seen folks reach for razor blades or harsh cleaners, and let me tell you, that's a fast track to scratched paint or faded clear coat. The smart way is to spray WD-40 directly on the residue and let it soak for about a minute. That formula breaks down the adhesive at its root. Then take a soft microfiber rag and wipe. It'll roll right off. For stubborn spots, spray again and use your thumb to rub in circles. It lifts off without harming the finish. This trick also works for inspection stickers, duct tape residue, or dealer decals on glass. WD-40 softens the glue, but keeps the surface underneath safe. That wraps up the exterior fixes. But let's be real. What really eats into your wallet isn't on the outside, it's what's happening under the hood. This is where WD-40 truly shines. Let's move into some powerful maintenance and repair tricks that can save you big. Hack number 13. Loosen stuck or rusted bolts and nuts. Every mechanic has fought with a rusted bolt that just won't budge. You lean on the wrench, the bolt laughs at you, and before long, you're one slip away from busting your knuckles. Or worse, snapping the bolt right in the hole. That's when the repair bill jumps from a simple job to a nightmare. Here's how I handle it. First, I spray WD-40 directly onto the threads or the nut. Let it soak for at least 5 minutes. WD-40 isn't just a lubricant, it's a penetrant. It creeps into the tiny gaps where rust has locked the threads. After a good soak, grab your wrench and try again. 9 times out of 10, it breaks free smooth. For heavy rust, spray again and tap the bolt lightly with a hammer to help the WD-40 sink deeper. I've saved countless customers from paying for broken studs and rethreading jobs with this one simple trick. And if that impressed you, wait until you see how WD-40 doesn't just free rust. It stops it dead in its tracks. Hack number 12. Prevent rust on tools and undercarriage components. WD-40 stands for water displacement. That's what it was designed for back in the 50s, to push water off metal and keep it from rusting. And let me tell you, it does that job better than anything else I've used. If you've got tools sitting in a damp garage, spray them down lightly with WD-40. It leaves a thin protective film that keeps rust from forming on wrenches, sockets, or ratchets. Same deal with jack stands, floor jacks, and even the spare tire rim in your trunk. I've had the same set of tools for decades because I treat them right with this stuff. Now let's talk cars. If you live in a salty winter state, spray WD-40 along your undercarriage. Things like control arms, subframes, and suspension parts. It doesn't make your car bulletproof, but it slows rust to a crawl. I've seen the difference. Cars that get this treatment last years longer before rust eats them alive. And if you thought preventing rust was smart, wait until you hear how WD-40 shuts up those annoying squeaks. But before we dive in, if you're getting value from these hacks, hit that like button, share this with a friend, and subscribe for more car-saving tips. And when you're done here, check out my other video, Car Hacks You'll Wish You Knew Sooner, packed with tricks you'll want in your toolbox. Hack number 11. Stop squeaky hinges on car doors and hoods. Nothing makes a car feel old and neglected faster than squeaky hinges. You open the door and it creaks like a haunted house, or you pop the hood and it screams loud enough for the neighbors to hear. Most folks ignore it, but that squeak is metal rubbing metal with no protection, and over time, it wears out the hinge pins. That's not just annoying, that's expensive. Here's the fix. Grab your WD-40, aim right at the hinge points, and give it a short burst. Don't drown it, just enough to coat the moving parts. Then swing the door or hood open and closed a few times to work it in. Instantly, the noise is gone, and the hinge moves smoother. For doors that are really bad, spray again the next day and it'll stay quiet longer. This simple step saves you from having to replace worn hinges down the road. And if that sounds good, wait until I show you how WD-40 makes spark plug removal a whole lot less painful. Hack number 10. Free up stuck spark plugs or other threaded parts. Spark plugs that have been sitting for years love to weld themselves into the cylinder head. Same goes for O2 sensors, bleeder screws, or any threaded part exposed to heat and moisture. I've seen more than one DIYer crank too hard and strip threads clean out of the head. That's a repair that'll drain your wallet fast. Here's the right move. Before you ever put a wrench on it, Spray WD-40 right at the base of the spark plug or threaded part. Let it sit for a good 10 minutes, longer if it's really crusty. WD-40 seeps down into those tiny threads, breaks up the rust, and makes the metal glide instead of fight. When you go to loosen it, turn slowly. If you feel resistance, tighten just a hair, spray again, and back it out gently. That trick has saved more cylinder heads than I can count. And if you think that's a relief, just wait. Because in cold weather, WD-40 can even stop your locks from freezing solid. Hack number 9. Spray inside locks to prevent freezing in winter. Winter can be brutal on cars, but nothing's worse than walking out on an icy morning, key in hand, and finding your door lock frozen solid. I've seen folks pour hot water on the lock or jam their key until it bends. That only makes things worse. Water seeps in, freezes again, and now you've got a damaged lock cylinder. So what should you do? Before the cold really sets in, spray a quick shot of WD-40 directly into your locks. It drives out moisture and leaves behind a protective film that keeps ice from forming inside the mechanism. Do it on your doors, trunk, and even the ignition if you've got an older ride that still takes a metal key. That one little step can save you from broken keys, busted locks, and even tow bills when you can't get inside your car. And speaking of connections, let's pop the hood, because WD-40 has another trick that'll help your battery. Hack number 8. Clean battery terminals to improve connections. Pop your hood and take a look at your battery. If you see white or green crust built up on the posts, that's corrosion. It doesn't just look bad, it strangles the flow of power. Weak connections mean hard starts, dim lights, and stress on the alternator. I've seen guys replace a perfectly good battery when all they needed was a cleanup. Here's what I do. Spray WD-40 right onto the corroded terminals and clamps. It softens and loosens that crust, so you can brush it away with a wire brush or even an old toothbrush. Wipe clean with a rag, then snug the clamps back down. Not only does it restore a solid connection, but WD-40 also leaves a film that slows corrosion from coming back. Do this as regular maintenance, and you'll keep your charging system healthy for years. And if you think that's a solid trick, just wait until you see how WD-40 protects spark plug wires from misfires when the weather turns damp. Hack number 7. Protect spark plug wires from moisture. Moisture and ignition systems don't mix. Back in the day, I saw plenty of cars roll into the shop on rainy mornings with a rough idle or no start. The culprit? Spark plug wires soaked through. When water seeps into old or cracked wires, the spark leaks out before it ever hits the plug. That means misfires, poor fuel economy, and in some cases, a dead engine on the side of the road. Here's the quick fix. Spray WD-40 along the spark plug wires and around the distributor cap if your car has one. WD-40 pushes out the moisture and lays down a protective coating, keeping current flowing where it belongs. Even on newer coil-on plug setups, a light spray around the boots can help keep dampness from causing trouble. This little trick has saved countless drivers from tow bills and late mornings. And if you thought that was smart, wait until you see how WD-40 keeps corrosion off the connectors that run your sensors and electronics. Hack number 6. Keep engine bay cables and connectors from corroding. Modern cars live and die by their electronics. Every sensor, every harness, every connector under the hood is a potential weak point. Heat, water, and road salt creep in, and before long, you've got mystery codes popping up, or a dead sensor that costs a fortune to replace. I've seen cars towed in just because one little corroded connector killed the whole system. Here's how you stop that. When you're doing basic maintenance, give your electrical connectors a quick shot of WD-40 before snapping them back together. It forces out moisture and lays down a thin protective barrier that slows corrosion. Do the same with battery cables, fuse box connections, even trailer plug wiring if you tow. That small habit can save you from chasing electrical gremlins down the road. Now that's under the hood. But let's swing inside the car, because WD-40 has another trick that every parent and every driver needs. Hack number 5. Remove crayon, gum, or sticky mess from seats and carpets. If you've ever hauled kids around, you know the damage they can do. Melted crayons on the seat, gum mashed into the carpet, or sticky candy smeared where it doesn't belong. Most people panic and start scrubbing hard with soap and water. Bad move. All that does is push the mess deeper into the fabric. Here's the WD-40 trick I use. Spray a little of it directly on the spot and let it sit for about a minute. The formula breaks down wax, gum, and adhesive-like sugars at the root. Then take a clean rag and blot or scrape gently with a plastic tool. The gunk lifts right off without wrecking the fabric or leaving behind a big stain. For carpets, hit it with a vacuum after to pull up the loosened bits. I've saved more than a few car interiors with this method, and if you thought that was handy, wait until you see how WD-40 can bring life back to a faded, dusty dashboard. Hack number 4. Clean and shine dashboard plastics quickly. Dusty dashboards are one of those things that make even a clean car feel grimy. You wipe it down, and 5 minutes later, it's covered again. Most people grab expensive interior sprays or wipes, but WD-40 can do the same job faster and for pennies. Here's how. Spray a light mist of WD-40 on a microfiber cloth. Never directly on the dash, because you don't want overspray on your windshield. Then wipe across the dashboard, door panels, and any other plastic trim. Not only does it cut through dust and fingerprints instantly, but it also leaves a smooth, subtle shine that makes everything look fresh. Bonus, it helps repel dust, so you won't have to wipe it down as often. I've used this trick on older cars with sun-faded plastics, and the difference is night and day. Just remember, less is more. A thin layer is all you need to make your interior look like it just rolled out of the detail shop. Hack number 3. Lubricate stuck seatbelt retractors. Few things are more annoying than a seatbelt that refuses to retract smoothly. You pull it out, buckle up, and then it just hangs there loose instead of snapping back into place. Not only is that frustrating, but it can also become a safety issue if the belt doesn't sit snugly against your body. This is where WD-40 comes in handy. Start by gently pulling the seatbelt all the way out until it locks. Use a clean cloth to wipe the belt itself. You'll often find dust and grime built up over time. Then, spray a very small amount of WD-40 into the retractor mechanism at the base. Don't soak it, just a short spritz is enough. After that, slowly guide the belt back in, pulling it out and retracting it a few times to let the lubricant work through. You'll notice the belt glides back into place much faster. It's a quick fix that restores function and extends the life of the retractor without costly repairs. Hack number 2. Stop window tracks from sticking or squeaking. If your power windows move slowly, squeak, or get stuck halfway, the problem isn't always the motor. It's often the window tracks. Over time, dirt, dust, and lack of lubrication make the glass drag against the rubber seals, straining the motor and risking a costly replacement. A quick WD-40 trick can fix this. Start by rolling the window all the way down. Spray a light line of WD-40 along the inside rubber channels where the glass slides. Be careful not to overdo it. You don't want overspray on the glass or door panel. Once applied, roll the window up and down a few times to work the lubricant evenly through the tracks. The difference is immediate. The window moves smoother, quieter, and with less strain on the motor. Keeping the tracks lubricated not only saves your window regulator from burning out, but also prevents those annoying squeaks that drive you crazy. A 2-minute fix can save you hundreds in motor repairs. Hack number 1. Restarting your car after floods or heavy rain. This last one is less of a maintenance trick and more of a lifesaver in an emergency. If you've ever driven through deep water or gotten caught in a heavy downpour, you know how terrifying it is when your car suddenly won't start. Often, the culprit is moisture inside your ignition components, like the distributor cap, coil, or spark plug wires, causing misfires or a complete stall. This is where WD-40 truly earns its name. Water displacement. 40th formula. Spray WD-40 directly onto the wet ignition components, especially the distributor cap and spark plug wires. It pushes out the moisture instantly and coats the surface with a thin protective layer. Within moments, your ignition regains spark and your car can start again. Now, let's be clear. This isn't a long-term fix, but in a flooding emergency, when you're stranded and need to move, WD-40 can be the difference between being stuck on the roadside and getting home safely. A small can could save you from a big disaster. Now that you know how WD-40 can save you thousands, there's one more crucial step you need. In my next video, I'll show you how to make your engine run like new again. Click the video on screen now.